So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, not subtitled Turtles in Time. Nope, that is a common misconception. People think because it's a time travel movie, that means it's called Turtles in Time. That was actually the fourth game released for the Super Nintendo and Nintendo series of games. It was never a title of this movie, although some foreign releases call it Turtles in Time. It is in fact not the name of the movie. Why does this look like it's crooked? I don't looks like it's crooked either way. This is not even the same one I had problems with before. Okay. So, second one. Dumbed down. But I feel like it still had some of the charm of the originals. This one. Well, the quality of this one went down so bad that when I was a kid, I was sure, growing up, I was sure this went direct to video. Until I was older and found out this went to theaters. The quality of this movie does not reflect that. But I guess Ninja Turtles was a bankable enough brand to do that. So after defeating the Shredder for the second time in a row, who do they face now? An ancient Japanese emperor and a British man with a bird. And they could have, I was thinking about this earlier, they could have done something better. They're going back to feudal Japan, right? Why not stick in Usagi Yojimbo? You know, the Japanese samurai rabbit, right? Could do that. It could work, I think. Because you could say it's not just feudal Japan, but it's feudal Japan in another dimension, where Usagi Yojimbo is from. You can do that. But no, we just go to feudal Japan with this thing. This time-traveling stuff. Now, I've talked about the toys I've had growing up. I had, for some reason, April O'Neil in a Japanese dress. She came with the staff. I had some turtles. A friend of mine who lived on the rich side of town, he had all the play sets. He had the not Casey Jones guy. He had the play sets you could fling. It's like a catapult thing. He had all those play sets. It was cool. We go over there, we play around. It was cool. It was cool. But yeah, and to show the contrast, no longer is it Jim Henson's Creature Shop name in the credits, because no, they went a different route. I don't know if it was because Jim Henson passed away and they just didn't have to deal with him anymore, or they were too cheap to try to pay them. I don't know. Because the effects in this... Now, I am not one of those that hates this movie with a passion. You want a review of someone who hates this movie with a passion? Watch the Angry Video Game Nerd's review of this. Because he hates this with so much of a passion, he sliced the VHS tape in half. Go watch it. I've never hated it that way. I've seen it as Tony from Hacked Movies would say, fine and fun. It's fine and fun. I never hated this. I never hated it. I think it's fine. It really dumbs... Watching it now, though, I will say, it really does dumb down everything from the last one. They barely use weapons. They barely fight. In fact, the first two movies open up with a big fight scene, right? This one has the turtles dancing to Can't Stop Rockin' by ZZ Top. I can't stop rockin'. Yeah, can't stop rockin'. Yeah. And then Raphael blows a gasket and destroys their music player. And apparently this was training? What kind of ninjutsu training is that? They're just dancing to Can't Stop Rockin' by ZZ Top. That's not... No. And then you see Splinter for the first time and you go, well, that's definitely half a puppet. Because he's always behind this window for the entire movie. right? Right. Thank you. But the movie actually starts in feudal Japan, where we meet Prince Kenshin, who is on the run from his father, who is the Emperor Norinaga. So his name is Kenshin Norinaga, or Norinaga the Emperor's first name. I don't know how Japanese names work, because they often... Because, you have Hamato Yoshi. Yoshi is the character's first name. Hamato is his last name, because the Japan, they reversed the names. So Rokusaki, his first name is Saki, which is why you'll hear Crane call him Saki from time to time. But, yeah. And I wouldn't have picked any of this villains after that. Come on. Shredder for a third time would have been, repeating way too much. But, the villain is a Japanese warrior who dresses up in armor, has a army of soldiers at his will, and the Turtles fight them at one point. It's essentially the same thing. So there's a British guy named Walker. We'll get to him. So Genshin is taken to his father, and we find out that he's sort of rebelling against his father, who's the Emperor. And then we smash cut to the Can't Stop Rockin' montage. And, Raphael is frustrated because he says that they do all of this protecting the city, and what does it get them? Nobody knows they exist, which is that even true? The city definitely knows that there are 4 people out there, that mysterious people that are helping because of April's story she did in the last one, right? Speaking of April, she's here. She's gonna go on vacation. Right, she's gonna go on vacation. She's dressed in a leather jacket. She got short hair for some reason, and she's giving gifts. She gives Leonardo a book on ancient Japanese swords. She gives Donatello some kind of machinery, and I will point out that this third film is the first time that they have Donatello care about any sort of machinery. This is the first time he does any sort of sciencey things in 3 movies. She has a fedora for Raph. He's got about 12 of those, but okay. Michelangelo, I do like his line. He's like, I'm not peeking. I'm spelunking for punk rinds. I'm spelunking for pork rinds. I don't know what spelunking means. Spelunking for pork rinds. He gets, I don't know. Oh, a lamp. A lampshade. Then we get I like Elvis. It blew away. And she has gotten Splinter this staff thing. She says it looks like an ancient Japanese thing. She doesn't know what it is, but she thinks this Splinter will appreciate it, and then it starts to go off because in the past, Kenshin has found it in the temple, and it begins to go off, and they swap. Including swapping clothes, which wouldn't work because, men's clothes are different than women's clothes. But both sets of clothes fit perfectly onto the other. April's clothes should be too tight on Kenshin, and Kenshin's clothes should be too baggy. She's wearing like a Japanese robe, so it kind of is. But the clothes that April was wearing fit perfectly on him. No. She is found by the Emperor's people, and for some reason, her Walkman goes with her, playing a cover version of that song. Shake your body, that's come on, everybody, shake your body, conga, everybody gonna tantento, somebody gonna that's what I'm talking about. That song. It's a cover version by this other band because she says 4 really great hot guys or something like that, and I shoved them in there. I'm like, that's a woman's song. I didn't realize that was a cover. I'm gonna everybody shake your body, conga along, and everybody gonna do it. No, that's whatever. She's called a witch, and she's put in the dungeon where, yes, we have Mr. Walker who is negotiating. So they explained that the Japanese people could speak English because Mr. Walker and his people are making deals. It's when America went to Japan to make deals. So that's how they get around the fact that everyone is pretty much speaking English. Even the people who aren't really part of the deal with Walker, like the villagers, like, what's her name's village. They all speak English, even Yoshi. Hey, Yoshi. Oh. Like, yeah. So they realize they have to go and find her. So this, but Donatello comes up with this. And I always call bullshit on this. He's like, it's an equal mass displacement sort of thing. So whatever people are going back in time, the other two have to be of equal size. And their idea was that they're gonna land in the temple and switch with 4 priests. Now that I have a hard time believing that 4 priests are the same height and weight as 4 walking, talking turtles. Same thing goes for the honor guard that do get swapped. They're kind of big men, but I doubt it that they're, I don't know. And they bring in Casey Jones to do absolutely nothing in this movie. I mean, absolutely nothing. He's there to babysit Splinter, and I think he's going to get up and he's like, it would be an honor. And he just sort of stays there. And he watches over the others as they show up too. Right? Here's my question. Why not bring Kenshin back with you? Now I know you need him to stay there. I know you need to get April. I get it. But couldn't he just swap with a 5th honor guard person or something? And then the 5 of them go back and she swaps with, or does it have to exactly be him? I know the height and weight thing, whatever, but if the height and weight thing is the thing, then you could just switch with another person of equal height and weight. I'm just saying. But no. And basically what we get while they're in Japan is that Casey is trying to show them the 20th century, which doesn't make any sense. Why would you're not supposed to show them the future, man? But they're going to arcade. You get the Come on, time to go home. Time to go home. Not that you kind of, unless it wipes their mind, which it doesn't. I do like that Michelangelo makes a good point, because he's in these Hawaiian boxers and they're like, what are you doing? He's like, well, if we're switching places, I don't want them to come back here butt naked. True. But then they just show up in diapers anyway. So, I don't know. I really don't know. But, this is where I always had a problem with this movie. They arrive and immediately Michelangelo gets separated from the rest of them. He's on a horse. He's backwards on a horse for some reason. He's screaming and he has the staff. And the only reason why they do this is so they don't have the staff and can't go back right away when they get to April. So instead they get separated. Michelangelo gets knocked out and taken in by Kenshin's woman. I'm going to call her Michin so bad, but it's not a name. And her people. While the others say, fuck Michelangelo and go get April. Like, where's Michelangelo? Last time I saw him, he was going, By the way, when they land in this little swamp thing, Donatello, who's once again voiced by Corey Feldman, says, I think I swallowed the frog. I hope it wasn't an ancestor. Well, Donnie, you're the science guy and you would know that it's not an ancestor. Because frogs are amphibians and turtles are reptiles. Therefore, they're not related. He is this... Right, Donatello does machines, right? So he's got some kind of brain up there, right? It was to make a joke. There's also one later. Help, I'm a turtle and I can't get up. Because turtles, when they fall on their back, they could possibly die. So there's that visual. But while April is trapped in this dungeon, a strange man is thrown down there. It's Mr. Wit, who's also played by Elias Koteas. And she immediately looks at him and goes, Casey? Now, this guy has short hair and a beard and talks with a British accent because he's British. We can assume he's Casey's ancestor, great-great-grandfather of some sort. I'm assuming. Why he's British, I don't know, but I bet I have like the last name Fowler is inherently from the United Kingdom, Scottish kind of thing, even though I have an Irish background, but that's on my mother's side. So my father, I don't know. Fowler is like an English name of sorts. Think of the chicken from Chicken Run. There was a Fowler, right? That's my real last name is Fowler, by the way. Oops. But like, I'm not restarting. So there you go. You know my real last name. I go by Brooks because I don't like my last name because I never really knew my dad. That's his last name. But now I have a son who also carries my last name. So I don't know. But my stage name is Brooks because CM Punk. And that's literally the only reason why. I just don't care for my birth name. I don't know. I'll come around to it more because of my son, but you know. Anyway, so just call me Scotty. Don't call me late to dinner, that's all. So I'm not restarting this. You guys have to know my last name, I guess. So I didn't type my middle name. So it's Chicken. Scotty Chicken Fowler. Have fun with that. So yes, this Mr. Wit, Casey's ancestor, they do a cross dissolve to Casey in modern time. And, yeah. So the turtles eventually they run afoul of the whatever her name is, and Kenshin's girlfriend, Mishin. But and they start that her people realize, oh hey, he's like the other one. They're like the other one we have, or the other one, Mikey. But like as soon as they get back there, the whole village is like on fire because they've been attacked. It's implied later that Mr. Wit constructed this, but how would they have known to get there is a question. But, yeah. I don't know. I think it's just they were attacking coincidentally. But how did they know? Because I assume they brought Mr. Wit in to help them find it. I don't know. It's confusing. Anyway, there's a fire. Michelangelo goes in to save Yoshi. And I have a theory about Yoshi. I think this is Splinter's master's ancestor. Because in the cartoon it would be Splinter. But Hamato Yoshi's ancestor, whose name is also Yoshi. Right? Yoshi. Right? Could be. But Leonardo does mouth to mouth, which with the way the turtle mouths are wouldn't work, but whatever, we'll do that. I think it's some sort of magic because they think they're magic demons or something. To be fair, they don't look like turtles when they're wearing the Shogun uniforms or whatever. But yeah, so they spend a few days there. They don't know where the staff is, so Donnie's brilliant idea is to build a new one. I don't know how that would work, but we find out they actually have it there, and that the grandfather had Yoshi hide it for some reason. I don't know how to explain. I don't know. But now they have it. But then, since they have it, Mr. Whip betrays them. He holds Kenshin's girlfriend at blade point, or musket point, whatever, and says, hey, give me that, or, I'll kill her. And he gives it to Walker, who is ready. I do like the style up to him and Norinaga. Norinaga goes, my dungeon is getting too... My dungeon is getting too crowded. Something like that. Well then, I guess he was going to be taking any prisoners. Kill them all. So yes. One thing is confusing. When Walker comes riding in, Michelangelo pauses, looks at him and goes, Clint Eastwood? Nah. In what way does this guy look like Clint Eastwood? In no way. But he goes, make my day, pal. And I'm like, okay, we get it. They do several references to Clint Eastwood, but yeah. But, yeah. So Wit takes off with What's-Her-Face to the castle, and they have to rescue her and get the thing back. They launch a full-scale attack with the people of the village, I think. And it's a big fight. But, Walker has them dead to rights. He's going to shoot them. But Leo plays the, oh, hey, we're Demon's card, right? All the bolts are going to bounce off of us. And that's why you don't want to shoot us. And his second in command is like, Niles is like, you want to take the first shot, sir? Why not? And so he stops and he fires a cannon. But Leonardo ducks. And we get I love being a turtle. And it hits this bell, which has Emperor Norinaga. I do like the gag earlier. I was like, who's in there? Emperor Norinaga. I like the sound of that. Because it's a bell. Get it? It blows up. And I have an issue here. Because there's not only is the subtitle wrong, but there's an editing issue here. So, the bell blows up, and then it starts to crumble, and April's like, huh? And Norinaga pops out with his head's all blown up like a Looney Tunes, and Donatello says, well, it's Don King. But the subtitle says it's Michelangelo that says this, but I could tell it's Corey Feldman's voice, and unmistakably that laugh. What's that sound you just made? What? I laughed. It's how I laugh. Heh. 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 It's how I laugh. Heh. By the way, you think he would know how his best friend laughed tonight. But they do this, and then smash cut to them running to the Daimo's building or whatever. Right? The Daimyo's building, the Emperor's building. I'm like, wait, what was that edit? How could Donatello say that, and then they're running in another building right afterwards? Was there a bit of a time lapse there? I don't know. But they get in there. We get the line, Kappa. You were expecting maybe the Addams Family? Or was that earlier in the movie? I don't know, but I like that. The puppetry is a little bit janky. But it's fine. It's a kids movie. You gotta remember that. It's a kids movie. And that's something high quality for kids movies, you know what I mean? I'm just saying. But yeah. So Walker was like, I'm getting the hell out of here. Oh, I forgot to mention Niles. You know what? Because they give him a wet willy earlier. You know what time it is? And he goes, witty, 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 witty. Witty, 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 witty. Like, he's getting himself. Excuse me, hold on. No wet willy. So Walker decides he's trying to escape and has to go back for his birds twice. And this leads to sort of a struggle on the top of the building where he falls into the water, but we hear no splash, and it's obviously like a someone just like a photo edited him out of the shot because it's not composited very well. But in the future, Kenshin has had enough waiting and is trying to use the machine to travel back. And like, uh-oh. So, here's where I pose the problem. At the beginning of this movie, Donatello gives him a time frame of 50 hours, saying if we don't get back by then, we'll be turtle soup. Which means something will happen, they'll cease to exist, they'll go kaplat, whatever. As they go to leave, however, Michelangelo and Raphael decide, we want to stay. You can't stay. Their argument is, well, you're not from here, you don't belong here. And then, what's her face? Kenshin's girlfriend is like, no, Kenshin has to come back. We have to make sure he comes back. Oh, you have to go. And it's like, okay, but no one's bringing up the argument if they stay, they'll go mush, right? That's what Donnie said at the beginning of the movie. Did they forget that? Did they forget their own damn writing? Hello, McFly? Anybody home? Think, McFly. Think. Hello? Yes? Maybe? Yes? Hello? Hello? I don't know. But Michelangelo gets left behind. Oh, no! Doesn't matter. He comes back anyway. And then we have Kate, and then Michelangelo's all sad, but then they do a little dance. Check, check, mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, whatever it is. Sit down to the beat, or whatever the dance is as the credit goes off. And, yeah. There is no real plot solution to their whole we want to be appreciated thing, because they can't stay back there where we'll be appreciated, because they'll go mush, but they never bring it up again after Donnie says it the first time. But also, unlike another movie we'll talk about, there's no real exposure for the characters later, you know. No. By the way, why is there no news story on the 4 weird Japanese men who showed up out of nowhere and doing the dancing and I don't know, I guess the fish out of water stuff. Yeah. I don't hate this movie. I'll give it a middle of the road. It's fine. I've always had nostalgia for the first 3. So I never hated this as much as everybody does. Everybody else does. They just shit all over this movie, and I don't get it. Sure, it's bad, but it's enjoyably bad. And if you can get enjoyment out of it, then then it can't be as bad as you think it is. You know, some people can't get enjoyment out of it, and that's them. But I do. I grew up with these movies. You know? I'm just saying. Some people say, well, when I was a kid, I liked it. When I grew up and I learned to know better. No. That's you. One of those things, I grew up and I learned to know better. No. If you did that, it's because you decided you needed to grow up and throw away childish things. And by doing that, it's not just, I'm growing up, I got to throw away childish things. No, you're throwing away who you are, and you're becoming something that you're not. Don't be a fuddy-duddy grown-up. Be yourself. Like Robin Williams said in Latin, be yourself. Don't forget your childhood, because if you do, well, have you seen any politician ever? That's what you end up as. Okay? I'm just saying. So yeah, it's the middle of the road for me. But it's not my least favorite. Not by a landslide. There's worse. There is. So, what are your thoughts on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3? Leave a comment, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.